The Last Jedi is directed by Rian Johnson and stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, and Oscar Isaac, and many more characters and actors, but I'm not going to name them all because then this video would go on forever. Last Jedi is just such a great movie. I know that there's so many controversies out there that The Last Jedi ruined Star Wars, that Disney ruined Star Wars, that it's the worst movie in the Star Wars history, and now the prequels are better than The Last Jedi. And let me just tell you that that is just complete baloney. That is just crazy. Those people are crazy. They don't really know what Star Wars is, because this movie is one of the greatest Star Wars movies that I had ever seen. I have to admit, when I left the theater, I was just absolutely shocked at what happened. And I actually did have to go home and think about it and just say, you know, what's going on here? What happened? And I really had to think through every single scene, because this movie was just so great. It had such great depth, and it really brought the characters into a greater arc that they needed. Kylo Ren was just one of the greatest characters in this movie. Adam Driver did a great job, as well as Carrie Fisher and all these other actors. They just did such a great job. Rey did a great job. Mark Hamill was outstanding, and let me just tell you that this actor was just absolutely outstanding. He really stole the movie. Mark Hamill was just so great in this movie. I just absolutely love him, as well as John Boyega, Daisy Ridley. They're just all so great. These actors have such a great chemistry together, especially Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley. They're just have such a great chemistry together. It's just absolutely brilliant at what Rian Johnson has brought to this new movie, The Last Jedi. It's just such a great movie. I mean, it's still in theaters as I'm talking right now, so if you still have a chance, go see it, because it's going to be out of theaters real soon. And of course, John Williams has done it again with such engaging music. So if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, we're about to get into the spoiler review. So if you have not seen it, get out of here, because there are about to be some major spoilers ahead. This movie deserves a lot more respect than it is getting. The Last Jedi might have some problems, and we're about to get in that a little bit later into the video. But overall, it's a new, fresh Star Wars film, and many things in this movie have never been done before. You know, the director Rian Johnson has made Star Wars fresh and new, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you have to see that Rian Johnson has created something new and completely different from any other of the Star Wars episodes. When you sit down and you watch The Last Jedi, you are transformed into a different movie, a different world. I mean, it's completely different from any of the other episodes. And let me just tell you, before you say anything about this movie, you have to at least see it twice, because let me just tell you, the second viewing makes the movie twice as better. The movie is already good. I mean, when I first walked out of the theater for the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, that movie was fantastic. That movie was great. And when I went to go see it the second time, I was like, wow, this movie really is great. This movie really is excellent, and I really enjoyed it a lot more the second time. In the beginning of the movie, there's a lot of comedy that we can see, and I think that maybe there was a lot of comedy just because this movie has such great depth, and later on in the movie it gets really, really deep. And I think the comedy in the beginning of the movie was well placed, and I think that we really have to really enjoy this comedy, because later on it's going to get really serious and it's going to get really deep. In the beginning of the movie, we see that Poe is trying to take down this big old ship called the Dreadnought, and it's just absolutely incredible. The visuals that we can see in this film, it's just absolutely stunning. Every single visual in this film is great. But of course, we have Poe, the character, you know, he just really wants to get it done, and he is ignoring everything that Leia is telling him to do. He's telling him to get out of there, and he is still doing what he wants to do. But at the end, he destroys the Dreadnought, but of course he brings down all of these bombers that they had not even one left. He destroyed the whole bomber fleet because they didn't pull back, they didn't fall back. And maybe the movie would have turned out a lot different if Poe did not destroy the bomber fleet, because all of them, they just died, because, you know, it was just absolutely crazy of what just happened in the beginning of the film. Later we move on to Luke, right where The Force Awakens left off, and it was really great to return to Act 2 and really see what Luke is gonna be doing with the lightsaber. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he throws it over the edge. Oh, that's lovely. That's great. Hopefully porgs don't get a hold of that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not really hating on this scene because I know it was kind of like a joke, but I just really think that Luke should have done something else with that lightsaber. I don't really think that he should have just thrown it off the edge, but maybe it might grow on me later on. But for right now, I just really disagree how he just threw it off the edge and he just didn't want anything to do with it. Which I kind of understand because, I mean, maybe he didn't want to train anybody. I mean, after he's went through so much with Ben Solo that he just really didn't want to train anybody and he didn't want to get into anything. And he even goes and talks to Rey and says that I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, get out of here, I don't want to train you. But yet Rey is destined for Luke Skywalker to train her. Rey really needs Luke Skywalker's help, and that's why Rey is there. And Rey just constantly keeps doing stuff there, and it's just absolutely great what happens on that island. I know there are a lot of controversies out there, especially when Luke drinks from that big giant dinosaur. A lot of people did not like that scene, which I actually thought it was pretty okay. I don't understand why people are so picky. And especially like when he got that fish, I thought that was pretty funny. I think that was a pretty good laugh as well. A lot of people are wondering, how did he get that fish from the bottom of the pool? But it doesn't matter. I mean, people, you have to realize that this is a movie, okay? This is Hollywood here, okay? I mean, he got it up somehow. I don't know how he got it up. Okay, maybe it might be in a book or something. I don't know. Now, going back to Leia's ship, the one that she's on, she is really not happy to see Poe because he just disobeyed every little thing that she said. But later they get attacked, and one of the saddest moments in The Last Jedi is when all those people get thrown out of the ship, sucked out into space, and it's just really sad to see all those people die, especially Admiral Akbar. Rest in peace, Admiral Akbar. You've been a great commander. It's a trap! And when I first saw Leia got shot out of the ship, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just so surprised of what just happened. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that they just took her out like that. And I was just like, wow, okay, I mean, I guess it had to happen somehow, right? It had to happen one time or another. And I was just quite saddened, but later on, you know, we see that Leia is actually alive. She's actually alive, and she's actually using the Force to get back to the ship. And it is absolutely crazy. And it's actually quite lovely to see that she actually knows the Force. She actually uses the Force. And maybe we've never seen this on screen before. Maybe we've never seen Leia use the Force on screen. But she can. And she can use the Force. And I think that scene was actually pretty good. I think that was actually well built in there, because let me just tell you, a lot of people out there are just hate this scene. I hear that there were some people that walked out of the theater once they saw that scene. They were just like, well, I'm out of here. This is going to be a real bad movie. No, it's actually a really good movie. A lot of people just need to sit through it for a little bit, and then they can realize that, wow, this movie is just so great. There are a few big things that a lot of people have concerns about in The Last Jedi, and a lot of people say that these things made The Last Jedi terrible. And one of the things is the connection between Rey and Kylo Ren. A lot of people just did not like it because we've never seen it before. We've never seen that connection through the Force, and this is the first movie where we get to see it. And what do people do? They complain about it. They complain about it, and it's just like, why? I mean, what do you expect an 8th movie in the series to do? I mean, do you want to keep seeing the same thing over and over again, over and over again? No, we want to see something new. We want to see something fresh, okay? And I don't know why people are always complaining here, okay? Because this is one of the greatest movies because it's so fresh, it's so new, everything's new in it. There's a lot of new things. Of course, there's going to be things that are returning back like in every other Star Wars film. But we have to realize that Rian Johnson is taking risks, and risk should be taken, I believe, because if we keep seeing the same movie over and over again, this franchise is gonna die. Star Wars is gonna be over with because they're always just showing the same movie over and over and over again, just in a different way. And that's what Star Wars people don't want, right? They don't want that, okay? And we need to have those kind of things in these movies to make sure that these movies continue to go on. Another one of the greatest controversies is Snoke's death. Yes, that's right, Snoke dies in this movie. I was actually surprised at how Snoke died in this movie. Just because Snoke is so great in the Force, and he really applies it through The Last Jedi. You can see how strong he is. He even uses Force lightning in one of the scenes, which is actually pretty cool to see. But let me just tell you, Snoke's death was to elevate Kylo Ren. You have to realize that Snoke was just a placeholder for Kylo Ren, okay? Now we know that Kylo Ren means business. Now we know that Kylo Ren is fully sucked into the evil. He really doesn't care. He even killed his own master. He didn't care. He killed him, man. He killed that guy. He's like, get out of here. I don't want you. I'm going to kill you. Okay, I'm the boss now. And speaking of Snoke's death, another one of the greatest controversies is Luke's death. And you know, as much as I would love to see Luke Skywalker in Episode 9 living and doing stuff in Episode 9, I really am satisfied with Luke's death. Even though it was sad, even though it was just really hurtful at first, but later it grows on you. Later you realize, like, well, it's time for Rey to take over. It's time for these new characters to take over in Episode 9. And that's why Luke had to die, just because we have these new characters. But we can't keep having all these characters to come back on. We need to move on here. And I think that's why Luke Skywalker had to die, because we really needed to see these new characters come full circle in Episode 9, and I think that's why Luke Skywalker had to die. And even though it's sad, you know, I know, but we got a whole movie of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, and I think it was absolutely great, especially in the last scene with Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker, his Force projection. It was absolutely great. I think that scene was lovely. A lot of people did not like the Force projection, of course, because it's new. You know, people hate new stuff, I guess. I guess they just want to see the same movie over and over again, because that's exactly what's going on here. Now, I'm not praising The Last Jedi anyway, because of course it has some problems. Of course, in Canto Bight, a lot of people complain about it. And, you know, I think so too. I think it's a great location. I think it's great visuals there. A great idea that they had there. But the only problem is it just moves so slowly there. I mean, if they could have just done something a little bit more quicker, something a little bit more faster that they could have done with that Canto Bight scene, that would have been great, because I kind of wanted to see Luke and Rey a little more instead of, you know, this Canto Bight scene. I kind of just really wanted to focus on that relationship between Luke and Rey and what's going on the island, instead of this Canto Bight scene where they're trying to find this person that's supposed to unlock this thing and whatever. I really didn't want to see that. You know, I mean, if they could have just took that scene out, or maybe made that scene a lot more faster instead of the runtime that it had in the movie, that would have been absolutely great. I would have loved it. That would have been absolutely lovely to see Luke and Rey more on the island. Of course, one of the other problems with this movie is that there's no giant fight scene. You know, I really adore the scene in Snoke's room, but I really like to see a lightsaber on a lightsaber battle, or a duel or something like that. I mean, we've seen it in every single Star Wars movie except for Rogue One. We have not seen it in that one. But I kind of really wanted to see like a lightsaber on a lightsaber duel. But what we got in Snoke's throne room was pretty good too. I really enjoyed that. But like I said, I really wanted a lightsaber on lightsaber duel. And no, Luke Skywalker versus Kylo Ren does not count. Even though that scene was absolutely lovely, lovely shot. Lovely ideas there, and those ideas were really great on screen. I really loved it. The last thing I want to talk about in this review is Leia. I think they did a great tribute to Carrie Fisher, because she was just absolutely great in this film. This was one of her greatest films that she had ever filmed. Her acting skills in this film is absolutely wonderful, and she is just so great in this film. It looks like she wants to be there. It looks like she's engaged with her character, and she really looks like she's having a great time on set. And even to the character Leia, it really does tribute Leia. But of course, throughout the whole movie, she's kicking butt. She's doing such a great job. But one of the things that really struck me was that scene with Luke and Leia. That was really nice. I'm really glad that Luke and Leia reunited somehow, even though it was through a force projection. I'm glad that we got to see them on screen together. That was great. That's what the people wanted, and it was just really great to see that. And of course, at the end of the movie, she made it to the Falcon, and she is out of here. She is going somewhere into the galaxy, and she's alive. I was very surprised that she was left alive on the Falcon to live and be in episode 9, but I don't know how they're gonna bring her back in episode 9, so I don't know why they didn't just kill her off in this movie. But I guess I kind of understand, because they wanted to make a great tribute to Carrie Fisher, and that was really great. I think that was really great, but I have no idea how they're gonna deal with Carrie Fisher's death in episode 9. That's gonna be very weird. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I really have no idea what J.J. Abrams is gonna do, so I'm gonna see what's going on with him. We're gonna see what happens with Leia, and hopefully it's good. So The Last Jedi. It's a great movie. It has great visuals. It is absolutely visually stunning. And it's got a great story. It's got a great characters. And I really love the complex characters that we really get to see in this film. And it's just really great. I just love this film a lot. I really don't understand how the fan base is split on this. It's literally like 48% trash on the tomato meter. So I'm just really confused at why people do not enjoy this film. But hopefully once they see this review, hopefully they can realize that, hey, maybe this film is pretty good. Or maybe I should go see it a few more times and then realize how good it really is. But yes, it is a great film, and I don't really understand why people hate this film so much. So I'm going to give Star Wars The Last Jedi an A-. Thank you all for watching my first movie review. I hope you can like this video and subscribe, and leave a comment below which movie or TV show you want me to review next. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time.